Hey, it's your discount daddies.
We play shitty games so you don't have to.
And good games because we want to.
This week, I'm talking about Code Vein and Dirt 5.
And I took on SuperHot, Mind Control Delete, Absolute Drift, and Wreckfest.
So strap in or strap on. Here we go!
I'd like to start off this video by apologizing for all of our stupid bits and jokes in the last video. More specifically, I'd like to apologize for using my weird satanic bash rap on the Falconeer and not having the foresight to realize how a #1 hit of such quality was meant for the one and only Wreckfest. That's right, the jokes are here to stay and we can never change. Developed by Bugbear Entertainment, Wreckfest is a racer in the same way Mario Kart is. Only in this racer, the battle mode is the highlight, not the stepchild afterthought that only gets hit when it asks for attention. And the weapons aren't some weighted RNG designed to punish the leader, because the weapon is you. You're not RNG, unless you really want to get into the science of it. But this isn't that kind of channel, unless enough of you demand it. But yeah, the real draw of Wreckfest is not the racing, although the racing is enhanced by association with the game's main selling point. We're talking about crash physics, baby! Wreckfest picks up where games like Burnout and Flat Out left off, favoring chaos over realism, and the entry fits in nicely with that company while also finding its own identity. The racing, similarly to Burnout, is serviceable, but we're all just here to crash, and boy are the crashes beautiful. It's clear that the engine Bugbear has created for vehicle deformation was the foundation of the entire experience. The zaniness of Flat Out is here too, with the opening event being a lawnmower derby with ragdoll physics on high display. A brilliant introduction to the game, honestly, and a perfect sample of the wild events to come. If I were to nitpick, the music was hit and miss, occasionally featuring too much bad modern rock. The AI could also be overly aggressive during races, becoming more interested in trading paint with you than jockeying for position. But that's honestly it. I'm super happy this game came to Gamepass and plan on continuing to enjoy all it has to offer.
Next on Game Pass, we have Code Vein, a Souls-like action role-playing game by Bandai Namco Entertainment. Souls-like is indeed an apt description for this game. It really is Dark Souls with a generous sprinkling of anime butts. That said, I was pretty excited to try this game when I saw that it was coming to Game Pass. You wanna know why? I'll tell you why!
It seems everyone, everywhere, is thirsty.
And man, am I thirsty too! Anyway, the player, assuming the role of a vampire-like immortal superhuman, runs around the map killing enemies and collecting souls. Haze. You're able to spend that haze at missiles, to unlock new gifts and abilities. If you die, you lose all your haze, and you must either go back and collect it at the point you dropped it from, or you lose it forever. Combat in this game can be extremely difficult, forcing the player to carefully strategize and optimize their build. The key to success is to learn about your enemy's behavior, strengths, and weaknesses, and to adjust your tactics accordingly. Sound familiar? It should! But really, we don't need to focus too much on its similarities with Dark Souls in order to examine this game. The truth is that despite its likeness, it actually brings enough new content to the table that I can safely say Code Vein does not strike me as a Souls clone as much as a game that is knowingly and openly inspired by another iconic game. It offers a story-rich experience absolutely packed to the gills with lore and the melodrama and over-the-top flashiness that one would expect from an anime. Visually, it's stunning, and the music and sound design is a thing of beauty. Combat is exciting, and the animations are simply badass, and for all this, the game runs like a dream, allowing me to max out visual settings while never really dropping below 100 frames per second. As always, your mileage may vary based on your machine, but Code Vein strikes me as a very well optimized game that shouldn't give players with reasonably capable hardware any trouble. Code Vein isn't without its problems though. Some of the characters are disappointingly two-dimensional, and the story just goes completely off the rails sometimes. So yeah, it's anime, and that's not really a drawback if you're into that sort of thing. Also, some elements of the game kind of made my experience unnecessarily frustrating. Right after the first mission, it's not immediately clear what exactly you're supposed to be doing. They pretty much just dump you out into the world and go, "We're looking for blood beads, so go out and find some of that shit, please." So I found myself aimlessly meandering around the map, killing enemies, inadvertently running in a wide circle, only to find the same enemies respawn in exactly the same spot. Rinse, repeat. I am totally open to the possibility that my inability to navigate has less to do with poor design and more to do with the fact that I'm a crayon-eating moron. But if you're somebody who gets frustrated by a game with a deliberate lack of direction, this is your warning. In conclusion, I think this is a good game for people interested in a unique spin on Dark Souls. There's a lot of good to be found in this game, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's bad. And some of you will probably happily sink hours into it, drinking in the story and oogling those sweet, sweet anime butts. It's just that I'd rather not.
For a quick change of pace, let's look at a small Epic Game Store freebie with a low poly style take on everyone's favorite Fast and Furious movie. Absolute Drift, developed and published by Fun Selector Labs Incorporated, Jesus Christ, come on guys, aims to strike a relaxed tone in every way. The art, music, and forgiving approach to the game's progression all work towards that common goal. It's not the best low-poly aesthetic around, but the atmosphere is definitely more than the sum of its parts, highly elevated by the incredibly open gameplay loop. Progression through the game world is entirely based on small, relatively easy objectives scattered around each zone. They're easily spottable, with a mirror's edge sheen, easy to complete, with progression that doesn't reset, and well-paced, making sure the player sees every corner of each space. I appreciated this approach, mostly because I wasn't overly fond of the circuit-based game types, which can be completed for additional cars and cosmetics. I was happy to not engage with them in any way, although I'm sure there might be those who feel the opposite. So look within yourself. Only you can know the way to inner peace. The game does achieve zen moments from time to time. Moments that make games like Journey, Flower, Abzu, and the like meaningful experiences. However, there's a separation here from those titles that you may find to be a positive or a negative, and that separation is immediate accessibility. There's a definite learning curve to Absolute Drift, one that will frustrate a player until they can master the throttle toggling necessary to keep control, and that can take time. I, myself, wasn't able to totally wrap my head around it for about 2.5 zones, and that's roughly half the content. Who knows, maybe I just suck, but my point is that other games that strive for a therapeutic experience are usually more pick up and play for this reason. If you happen to pick this game up when it was free, which is a habit you should definitely get into, I'd give it a shot. However, if you've got Gamepass and want something similar to try, take a look at Lonely Mountains Downhill. It does a lot of what Absolute Drift is trying, but a little better in my opinion. It's definitely got more charm and better art. Ha! Surprise! Double recommendation, bitch!
Next, we have Dirt 5 on Game Pass, an arcade off-road racing game by Codemasters Cheshire. At a glance, this game pretty much checks every box on the list for a promising arcade racer. It's visually stunning, everything from the scenery to the cars, even the sound design is absolutely on point. The cars handle like a dream, no frills, no tinkering, nothing getting in the way of an adrenaline-fueled off-road racing scramble through some of the world's most beautiful locations. I mean, Dirt 5 is a game that is exactly what it claims to be. You race in dirt. Any questions? Well, I have a few. Like, why the hell is it that half of these event types seem identical to one another? Also, remember when I said these cars handle well? That's true, with the exception of the sprint cars. The slightest touch of the controls, I swear to God, sent me careening into the barriers. I spent the entire race hugging the wall like I was trying to find my way out of an ice skating rink after getting pepper sprayed in the face. And the sponsor goals? What the hell? I completely understand trying to add a little bit of flavor to the game by adding unique challenges, but frankly, they suck. For context, one of the objectives was to make sure I was in 9th place at the end of the first lap. Again, they asked me to be in 9th place in a racing game. Were they high? Granted, the objectives are optional and only for rep points. Still, if it doesn't enhance the game, leave it out. Dirt 5 would be absolutely fine without clunky gameplay features that make the game harder simply by inconveniencing the player. Now, these are just a bunch of little issues that sort of snowballed into a rather annoying experience for me. That said, I was aware I might be making a big deal out of trivial matters. I figured it'd be best to get a second opinion, so I asked my good buddy Mitch to play with me on multiplayer. Maybe he wouldn't get so hung up on the details, or better still, maybe this game offers a stellar multiplayer experience. You know what he thought about it? Nothing! the game wouldn't even boot for him, and I think that's pretty weak. Now don't get me wrong, it's got some good moments. As I said, it's pretty, and ice racing is a highlight, the soundtrack is okay-ish. It's just that this game frustrates me, and there's so many great racing games out there that don't as much, so why pick this one? Like, you know what else is on Game Pass? Forza Horizon 4. If you're looking to scratch that off-road itch, or if you're just looking to do some arcade racing in general, just play that. Because Forza doesn't piss me off, and it does everything Dirt 5 does, and more, and just better. So I'm gonna go ahead and not recommend this one.
Last but not least, SuperHot Mind Control Delete. Now, the original SuperHot is a VR game. I know that technically SuperHot VR is its own title with key differences from the original SuperHot, but once you've experienced the mechanics for yourself, watching bullets pass by your face like Neo, you can understand quickly that VR was the perfect complement to such a unique gameplay loop. That's why when SuperHot Mind Control Delete, developed by SuperHot Team Lord Almighty, was announced, I was initially disappointed by its lack of VR support. You see, the first SuperHot game was fun, and kept my attention for a little while, sure, but having played the VR version first, I dropped off quickly and just put on the headset whenever I was craving that action. So when I launched Mind Control Delete, I was pretty disappointed to see it felt like more of the same old SuperHot loop. Whatever, I'd honor our 1 hour minimum rule, and hey, regular SuperHot ain't bad. But after 10 minutes, credits were rolling, the game was telling me I'd had enough. And even if the credits were giving me the motivational speech my father never would, I felt like something fishy was going on. I'm going to skip past the minutia of how SuperHot Team breaks the fourth wall here, as it's something you'll definitely want to experience yourself. But the gist of the delivery is that the game is almost passive-aggressively adding additional mechanics to the traditional SuperHot loop to cater to the player. It's incredibly well done. It's paced perfectly, subverts expectations, and has the player set along the game's critical path within 20 to 30 minutes. By the time I saw the roadmap that represents the game's progress, I was hooked. Each node on the map represents a series of levels with its own contained roguelite progression. Finish one of the contained levels and you get to choose between 2 upgrades, like starting with a random weapon or increased speed. Finish a node and you'll unlock a new upgrade to add to your pool of potential goodies. While these are reset every node, there are also challenge nodes that will net you a permanent modifier, like an extra health point or the ability to explode shurikens from your chest when you're hurt. You know, realistic stuff. One of these can be equipped at a time. Plus, you can unlock permanent powers that you can trigger with a short cooldown, such as dashing and smashing an enemy who happens to get too close. Perfect for when you're out of ammo and you've dicked the throw of your gun. Only one of these can be equipped at a time as well. So there you have it. I've recorded the voiceovers for this whole video with my foot in my mouth because this game totally blew me away. I'd sure love it in VR, but you'd be crazy to miss out on this one for any reason. So go get it. Get it, girl.
Oh,
get the game.
girl,
So
good
go
girl,
get
you
it.
got the game.
Ooh,
So good
go
girl,
get
you
it.
got the
Get
game.
it,
Who's a
girl.
good girl? You are. You're the
Oh,
bestest
get it.
girl.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there was never a better girl, and you can never tell me
good girl,
different.
yeah.
You're the best.
Ooh, Billy rubs for the good girl.
Hey, thanks for watching. It means a lot.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And if you don't, we're probably gonna get real sad. I mean, we're gonna keep making these videos, we're just gonna be sad.
Next week, I'm going to dive headfirst into the cesspool of sports games that insist on annual releases.
And I get to talk about surviving Mars in War Game. So suck on that, Mitch.
Yeah. Bye.